Well, I'm all ready for a road trip, so I'll be try to get a little bit of some stuff in later on, but I'm all geared up with some beef jerky and bananas and load up on the coffee and let's get her done. Have a great week, guys.
Well, I'm taking part of the week off to do a little road trip, taking friend's car back to Arizona, actually the California side. And, well, turned out to be quite the adventure and just beautiful, man. I tell you, both sides of the border, doesn't matter which country that I travel to, the landscape is always the same. It's the foliage that is different. The rock underneath, it's all the same, no matter which country you're in. It's quite remarkable, actually. And I like to reflect on that and just kind of see the differences between the different countries and the areas and stuff. Even in California, you can see the same terrain, but it gets greener and different kind of trees. But if you catch a glimpse of part of the mountain that is bare, it's exactly the same. So it's interesting. So anyways, yeah, I started recording this just outside of La Paz. So if you've ever wondered what it was like to drive the Baja and see what's, what am I in for? Is there, like, everybody says it's dangerous, et cetera, et cetera. How are the roads? This was the first week in January 2026. So you can see the roads, some of them are being repaired, some of them have not been. So you have to be very careful. You'll also notice some cows and things like that on the highway and some accidents, as you saw prior here. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But overall, and I wouldn't suggest driving at nighttime so much. You'll see that as I pull up to the beach here soon enough. But just going through all the twists and turnies, you can see the brake skids on the highway where people have come into the corners too fast. Nothing's really marked that great. And the grade of the highway, a lot of the time as you're going around a corner, should be banked, but it's not. So you got to be mindful of that kind of stuff. So it's best to take your time, but just enjoy the trip, man. The scenery is amazing, absolutely amazing. And they'll have some construction stuff and lots of military checks along the way. I always suggest just be nice, just do your thing, and that's it. You'll be fine. Driving through Loreto, there's lots of different places to stop. They're not marked, mind you. You have to be careful of that. Now I'm pulling into this beach right here. We found it a few years ago. It is amazing, and I always wanted to stay here. There's a campground off to the side. So I pulled up and I figured I'd sleep here tonight because I didn't want to drive at nighttime. And got to see amazing stars. I left that stuff out of the video because my iPhone isn't the Pro, so it doesn't capture that kind of stuff very well. But wow, it was like standing underneath, I don't know. It was just bright out. So much from the moon and the stars, you could see absolutely everything. It was amazing. So anyways, next morning, back on the road. And what a morning. It was beautiful. Pulling up around all the beaches here in Mulahay district. All the campers down below on the beach for the season. And you'll see more people rolling in on the highway here as we come along. But again, the scenery is just breathtaking. It's amazing. Look at the clouds and then the ocean, all the different mountains and little islands around there when you're close to the shore. It's just amazing. I've gone for hikes up in some of these on prior trips. We don't do that quite so much anymore as the dog's getting a little older, and me, I'm the one that likes to do that. My wife doesn't really like to do that too much unless it's a light trail. But I'm a little more on the hardcore side, like to get up and get into the mix of things and just see where I end up. A happy accident, I guess, hopefully it turns into something like that. So I like to explore. So here we go into Santa Rosalia, and just a little fishing town kind of turned into something bigger. I think there's a oil port or something here. Some grocery stores, gas stations. We'll always fuel up here and grab some coffee. And then back up the hill. Now this is twisted and windy up the hill. those motorcycles that just drove by, those guys got to be having a blast because this road is actually really nice for that. Other than the part you're seeing right there, you still got to watch for the potholes and the broken pavement, but frick, man, is it awesome. I can imagine it on a motorcycle. It would be pretty cool. A lot better than Saskatchewan, that's for sure. Basically, put your feet on the back pegs and go to sleep. It is so boring on the prairies to ride a bike, even driving. Just everything's so straight. But here, wow, totally different ball game. So you gain same thing back and forth, in and out of all the corners, and just be mindful of your speed and enjoy the view. Look at the mountains in the background. There's a lot of volcanoes down here, like lots. If you actually Google that, you'll see that there's quite a few natural, and well, it's pretty neat to see, and you don't want to live too close to one, I'm sure. I mean, who knows when the last time one blew up, but I don't know. Later on, when we get to the rock forest, I don't know, that's where my mind goes. Something blew up at some point. Here, I'm just pulling off, and I had a stretch, did my morning stretch, and that woke me up. When I get sleepy, I like to pull off the side of the road, and if I don't have coffee or I don't want to have too much coffee, I'll just have a stretch and move my muscles a little bit. And man, I tell you, that makes all the difference in the world. 5 minutes, just do that, and then get back in the car and you're rolling again and you're back fully awake, So little tricks like that make a huge difference. So carrying on, we're headed towards Guerrero Negro right now, and there's a great place in there for lunch, and if you want to stay at a hotel. It's clean, it's good, the food is phenomenal, and the service is always super, super good. That's Malamaringo, I think it's called, something like that. It's just across the street from the Pemex gas station in Guerrero Negro. Family-owned business forever. Just about got wiped out by the COVID bullshit. But over right here, we go right into the town right here. Just got to cross over that line. It feels kind of weird doing that, but then you stay on this little road and off you go into the town. Now I'm headed out here, but that little restaurant is just phenomenal, and clean hotel, so I like it. We always stay there. At least they're working on the highway here. This is a kilometer or two of a stretch. I cut it short here, but it was a pretty bumpy ride going through there. Lots of trucks in and out, but at least they're fixing stuff, so that's good. Good to see. And then carried back on into the washed out road there a little bit, and back up into the mountain. It's just such amazing terrain. Like you can't argue that. It's like some of the most beautiful stuff you'll ever see, for real. I am so blessed to be able to drive this. I've driven it many, many times, back and forth to Canada, and going through the United States, same thing. Mind you, in the United States, it's got the same scenery, but way better highways, that's for sure. And here we enter the rock forest. Now, I don't know how this was all created. Was it volcanoes that blew up? I don't know. Maybe water washed it down at some point and just kind of eroded all the sand in between it, because you can see that from the sky when you're flying in. You can see the sand near the basin of some of the stuff. So maybe it just got washed off from gazillion years ago, who knows. But it's amazing to see. It's like just literally a rock forest. There's rocks everywhere, just mounds of it. So, and I seen that in Arizona as well, in California as well. So there's no difference to that. Even in Colombia has kind of stuff like this, and some more cows. Got to watch out for one of them. Actually, when I was driving by there, tried jumping out, and he had a second thought and turned around. A little young guy did a little kick, and I didn't catch it on camera, but it was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know what would cause all the rock like that, but it's like very sporadic, going through a point right now where there's not too much of it, and then bang, you're into a pile of it again. And here we go. And it's lots of like black rock, so it's maybe volcanic, I don't know, not sure. But either way, it's pretty. And because of all the rain we had in the summertime, everything is so green. I've driven through here and it's just like barren, brown, and time for a quick coffee here. They didn't actually have coffee because it was late in the day, but that's okay. If you're actually doing that trip, it was a clean little place, but no coffee. They obviously don't have too many Canadians driving by because we like our coffee all day long, pretty much. So back to the rock forest here. So yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. So what do you do with that? Maybe it was a meteor. I don't know. Either way, enjoy it. And with all the greenery and stuff that I before, here's the military guys in front of me here. I'm like, oh, do I pass these guys? Yeah, I think I'll just go around them here. They're going a little too slow for me, even though that they were going above the speed limit. Nobody really ever follows it down here in a straightaway. And when the road is okay, I tend to open it up just a little bit, you know, stick around that 100 km an hour, which isn't even that fast, but on a shitty road it is, you know. But if it's try to make up time for the shitty road where you have to really go slow, especially if you're in a car. And I was in a car on this one, and that, again, if you're driving a smaller SUV or something, like I've driven my Hummer down here lots of times, and I've had to rebuild, you know, put a wheel bearing in it and some shocks, et cetera, because it's going to take a pounding. But with that truck, I don't really slow down too much. I try to avoid the potholes, but you know, it's big and strong enough. It's going to take a little bit of a beating and not be too bad. You know, like it did that road, I don't know, 5 times before I had to do the shocks on it, but still did them. Where a car, especially with a longer wheelbase, like I was bottoming out in some stuff. Here's some more cows. So you don't want to be bottoming out. You don't want to be scratching the shit out of you underneath your car. Some of the topes, they call them, inside some of the cities. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't, and they're not always marked. So if you see yellow paint, chances are, you know, it's a tope there, and that's a big freaking rounded thing of concrete and to slow you down. But not all the time. Sometimes it's flat, just painted, and sometimes it's not painted at all, and it's huge. So you do not want to hit that. I've seen guys hit those things, and it's like airborne and break your car. You don't want to do that. So that was like the first trip down in 2019. I think I saw somebody rammed in it. We almost did the same thing. But you just carry on, do your thing, and really, really pay attention to the road if you can until you get to know it, that is, you know, and all the little things that you need to watch for. And if you have a co-pilot, even better, because then you can talk and, hey, look at this, look at that, and hey, watch out for this. I've got a nice little hotel here. It was super clean, and it was about $100 Canadian for the night. And it was just outside of Ensenada. Hitting the road in the morning was just downpouring. This shows nothing compared to what it was. Some of the spots going through was like you were driving under a waterfall. It was pretty amazing, right here. Then there was this military checkpoint. This dog was hilarious. He had his little guard shack right there, and the authority, look how he puffs his chest. It's just hilarious. He's just standing there watching the cars lined up, waiting for the military check. And anyways, so I was there for about probably 40 minutes, and then just, okay, no problems, couple questions, and then off we went. And here we're back into some flood now, and then you got bad road and flood. You had to really be careful, and some people just don't slow down at all. They're just fucktwits. So they're sending a wave of shitty water over top of the car. So I try to be mindful of that, and you can kind of pick those ones out real quick and try and get around them or give them a wide berth. Some people just don't care. So anyways, so back onto the twisty-turvy stuff. This is like Highway 1 in California. You know, you're just driving along the coast. It's beautiful. And this is Tijuana area here now. Or I think maybe this is still Ensenada. But this is lots of like little resorts and gated communities and stuff like that. Yeah, still Ensenada. So headed off to Tijuana. We're getting close, slowly but surely. And just enjoying the scenery around here. I stopped at this place called Victor's coming up, and wow, it was really, really good food. I was impressed, actually. I stayed on the autopista. It cost about 47 pesos per section, and that's it. There you have it, your trip from San Jose to Tijuana.